You ever notice how some people don't steal from you? They ask first. They don't take your energy, your time, your loyalty. They request it like they're doing you a favor. But here's the truth. What people ask for reveals what they really value. And some people only ask to see how much they can get away with. So today, I want to tell you about the 5 kinds of asks that should make you stop and think, because the people who keep asking for these 5 things aren't trying to get close to you. They're trying to control you. People who ask for your time but never respect it are the kind of people who drain the very core of who you are without ever realizing the weight of what they're taking. Time is the one thing you can never get back, and yet it's the one thing most people take for granted when it comes from someone else. You'll notice them easily. They're the ones who always show up late, the ones who keep you waiting without an apology, the ones who call or text when it's convenient for them, but never when it's considerate for you. They ask for your time like it costs you nothing, like your day doesn't have value, like your effort doesn't have limits. But the truth is, every time you give your time to someone, you are giving away a part of your life you'll never see again. And when someone repeatedly shows you that they don't value that, they're not just disrespecting your schedule, they're disrespecting you. People who don't respect your time often disguise it as needing you, as being close to you, as being comfortable enough to interrupt you. They'll say things like, I just need a quick favor, or you're not busy, right? And at first, it sounds harmless. But when it becomes a pattern, you start realizing that their version of quick always takes longer, and their definition of not busy only applies when it's your time, never theirs. It's subtle at first. You feel guilty saying no because you care, because you don't want to be seen as selfish, because you think you're helping someone who needs you. But over time, you start to notice that their needs never end, that they always find a reason to ask, and that your boundaries slowly start to blur. That's not connection. That's consumption. They're consuming your time, your energy, your focus, one small request at a time. You see, respect for time is really about respect for boundaries. When someone values you, they don't assume your availability. They ask for it. They don't guilt you into giving it. They earn it. But people who don't respect your time treat it like a public resource, something they can use whenever they feel like it. They'll make plans and cancel last minute without a thought about the preparation you made. They'll show up late to a meeting and act like it's no big deal. They'll talk endlessly about their problems, but disappear when it's your turn to speak. Because in their world, your time doesn't carry the same weight as theirs. And that's where the imbalance begins. You find yourself rearranging your schedule for people who wouldn't even adjust theirs for you. The danger of constantly giving your time to people who don't respect it is that you start believing that your time isn't valuable. You start normalizing the idea that being available equals being kind. You begin to associate self-sacrifice with loyalty. But there's a difference between being supportive and being used. Support is mutual. It builds both sides. Being used, on the other hand, empties only one. When someone keeps asking for your time without appreciating what it costs you, they're not asking for connection. They're asking for control. They want the convenience of your presence without the commitment of reciprocation. And once you allow that pattern to settle in, it becomes the rhythm of the relationship. You give, they take. You explain, they excuse. You wait, they waste. It's not always about them being malicious. It's often about them being careless. But carelessness hurts just as much as cruelty when it comes to your time. The friend who constantly keeps you waiting because something came up. The coworker who always needs help right before the deadline. The partner who only calls when they're bored. These are not accidents. These are habits, and habits reveal values. If someone repeatedly shows you that your time isn't a priority to them, you have to start believing them. Because the more you ignore it, the more you teach them that they can keep doing it. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. Every minute you give to someone who wasted is a minute you could have invested in something that grows you, heals you, or fulfills you. There's a kind of peace that comes when you start protecting your time. It's the peace of realizing that not everyone deserves access to you just because they ask. It's the peace of understanding that saying no isn't rude, it's responsible. People who respect you will understand when you're unavailable. They won't guilt trip you for choosing yourself. They'll make time with you, not from you. But people who only value your time when it benefits them will call you distant, selfish, or cold when you start setting boundaries. That's because they've gotten used to the version of you who always said yes, who always made space, who always gave in. When you stop feeding that version, they start starving for the control they used to have. Respecting your time is an act of self-respect. It's telling yourself that your goals, your peace, your rest, and your priorities matter. Because the truth is, the people who truly value you will never make you feel guilty for protecting your time. They'll appreciate it. They'll match it. They'll show up when they say they will. They'll keep their promises, not because they're afraid of losing you, but because they respect the effort it takes for you to show up. That's the difference between genuine relationships and one-sided ones. Genuine people understand that time is love made visible. When someone gives you their time, they're giving you a piece of their life. They don't take it lightly, and they don't abuse it. You start to realize how much lighter your life feels when you stop chasing people who keep wasting your time. You stop explaining your boundaries to people who don't intend to honor them. You stop feeling guilty for choosing peace over chaos, because every no you say to someone who doesn't respect your time is actually a yes to your own growth. You reclaim your hours, your focus, your balance. You start surrounding yourself with people who are intentional, people who don't need constant reminders that your time matters because they already treat it that way. You begin to see that time respect isn't about scheduling, it's about sincerity. When someone values you, they make time. When they don't, they make excuses. The truth is, not everyone who asks for your time deserves it. Some people ask to connect, others ask to control. Some ask to grow together, others ask to distract you from your own path. The key is to pay attention, not just to what they ask, but how they treat it once they have it. Do they use it wisely? Do they appreciate it? Or do they drain it without a second thought? The answers to those questions reveal everything about whether they belong in your circle or not. Because your time is your life in motion, and anyone who doesn't respect, that doesn't deserve a seat in it, people who ask for your secrets, but never share theirs, are the ones who disguise curiosity as closeness. They'll sit across from you, nodding, listening, asking gentle questions that sound like care, but feel like extraction. They'll make you believe you're safe, that what you say will stay between you, that this is what real connection looks like. And so you open up. You tell them things you've never said out loud before. You trust them with pieces of yourself that you don't show to the world. But then, when the moment passes, you realize something unsettling. You know almost nothing about them. They walked away holding parts of your story while keeping theirs locked behind a smile. That's not friendship. That's data collection disguised as empathy. People who constantly ask for your secrets, but never offer their own, are not trying to build trust. They're trying to build leverage. They want to know what makes you tick, what scares you, what breaks you, what motivates you, because information is power, and some people don't want to connect, they want to control. They use your vulnerability as currency, and the moment you show weakness, they store it away. Maybe they'll never use it directly against you, but they'll hold it as a quiet reminder that they know something you wouldn't want everyone else to know. That imbalance, that unspoken leverage, gives them comfort. It makes them feel in control, superior, safe from ever being exposed the way they've seen you be. The dangerous thing about people like this is that they look trustworthy. They know how to listen, how to nod at the right time, how to say, "I get it," in a tone that feels comforting. But if you pay close attention, you'll notice that when it's their turn to share, they become vague. They change the subject. They use humor to deflect. They tell stories that sound personal but reveal nothing. Their entire approach to communication is one-sided. They're not in it for mutual understanding. They're in it for information. They want access to your truth without risking exposure to their own. It's a game of emotional poker, and they never put their cards on the table. The reason this kind of behavior is so toxic is because vulnerability is sacred. When you open up to someone, you're not just sharing words, you're offering trust. You're saying, "Here, this is who I am underneath it all." That's not something that should be taken lightly. But people who collect secrets often lack the maturity to understand that kind of depth. They see it as gossip material, as emotional entertainment, or as a way to feel important. They thrive on knowing more than others. They feel valuable because they hold something personal about someone else. And that's where the imbalance begins. One person is real, and the other is pretending to be. There's also a deeper reason why some people never share their own secrets. They fear vulnerability because it makes them feel small. They equate openness with weakness. So instead, they build an image of being the strong, composed one. They'll say they're private, that they just don't talk about personal stuff. But what they're really doing is keeping emotional armor intact while letting you walk around unguarded. They study you from a distance, learn your patterns, your fears, your insecurities, and then act like they understand you deeply. But real understanding doesn't come from listening alone. It comes from mutual exposure. If someone can't meet you halfway in honesty, then you're not bonding, you're performing. It's important to realize that reciprocity is the foundation of healthy connection. When trust flows only one way, it's not connection, it's manipulation. If someone keeps asking for your secrets, your stories, your truth, but never gives you even a glimpse of theirs, you have to ask yourself, why? Why do they want access to the parts of me I guard carefully, but never offer the same in return? Because genuine people don't need your secrets to feel close to you. They just need your presence, your respect, your authenticity. The ones who constantly seek your personal details often have an agenda, whether conscious or not. They want to feel powerful through your openness. What's worse is that these people often make you feel like you owe them honesty. They'll say things like, "You can tell me anything," or "I just want to understand you." And in the moment, it feels comforting. But later, when you think about it, you realize that your relationship feels emotionally lopsided. You're transparent, they're opaque. You've shown them your cracks, but they've never even lifted the curtain. You start feeling like you're carrying the emotional weight of both people, like you're the one always revealing while they're always receiving. And in that imbalance, trust slowly turns into discomfort. You start censoring yourself, doubting what to share, wondering if you've said too much. Over time, you begin to recognize the pattern. You notice how they never tell you what they're struggling with. You notice how they avoid talking about their past, how they deflect when you ask them real questions. And yet, they're always so eager to know about yours. They call it caring, but it's not care. It's curiosity without compassion. Real care involves risk. It involves saying, I've been there too. Or, I know what that feels like. It involves showing a part of your own humanity so that the other person knows they're not alone. But people who only want your secrets don't want mutual understanding, they want advantage. They want to know where you're soft so they can make sure they never have to be. The truth is, not everyone who listens deserves to hear. Some people listen just to learn how to talk about you later. Some people ask questions not because they care, but because they crave information. They might never betray your confidence directly, but they'll use what they know to shape how they treat you. They'll test your limits, poke your insecurities, and keep you emotionally off balance because they understand what buttons to press. That's the silent cost of trusting someone who never reciprocates. They gain control over your emotional landscape while you lose awareness of theirs. You can tell the difference between a safe listener and a manipulative one by what happens after you share. Safe people make you feel lighter, calmer, more grounded. Manipulative ones make you feel exposed, uncertain, or uneasy. If every time you open up to someone you walk away feeling like you gave away too much, that's your intuition trying to warn you. You don't need to explain it, you just need to listen to it. Because once your trust has been taken advantage of, rebuilding it becomes one of the hardest emotional recoveries there is. You start doubting not only others but yourself. Your judgment, your boundaries, your sense of who deserves access. Protecting your secrets isn't about being cold or distant. It's about discernment. It's about understanding that vulnerability is a privilege, not a right. Not everyone earns the level of truth you give them. You can still be kind, compassionate, and open-hearted without handing over your emotional blueprint. You can still connect deeply with people while keeping certain parts sacred. The people who deserve your secrets are the ones who handle them with reverence, who open up in return, who make you feel safe even when you're at your weakest. Everyone else just needs to meet your surface, and that's more than enough. People who ask for your forgiveness but never change are the ones who use apologies as tools, not transformations. They know exactly what words to say to soften your heart, but those words don't come from remorse. They come from strategy. You've met them before. They hurt you, you confront them, and they instantly say, "I'm sorry." But the next week, the same pattern repeats. It's not because they didn't understand what they did wrong. It's because, in their mind, saying sorry is easier than being different. Their apology is not a bridge to growth. It's a reset button to get back into your good graces without earning it. And the more you forgive them, the more permission they feel to do it again. When someone truly means their apology, you can feel it. It's not just words. They back it up with change. They don't rush you to forgive them. They don't get defensive. They don't justify what they did or make excuses. Instead, they take accountability. They admit that what they did was wrong, and they take active steps to ensure it never happens again. But people who apologize without evolving don't care about the impact, they care about the outcome. They just want peace restored, even if it means pretending. They want the relationship back to normal, even if that normal comes at the cost of your boundaries and emotional well-being. You'll notice their apologies often come with subtle manipulation. They'll say, "I said I was sorry. What else do you want me to do?" Or, "You're really going to hold that against me." They make your pain sound like a burden, your boundaries sound unreasonable, and your need for change sound like overreaction. This is how emotional manipulators operate. They turn their wrongdoing into your guilt. They make you feel like you're the problem for not moving on fast enough. And when you finally give in, when you say, "It's okay," even though it's not, they win. They've learned that your forgiveness doesn't require their growth. It just requires their performance. But here's the truth. An apology without change is manipulation. It's emotional theater meant to reset the dynamic, not repair it. These people depend on your empathy. They know you have a soft heart, that you value peace over conflict, that you'd rather fix things than fight about them. So they exploit that. They weaponize your kindness. They use your compassion as a shield to protect their comfort. Because as long as you keep forgiving them, they never have to face the discomfort of accountability. And over time, that dynamic starts to wear you down. You begin to doubt yourself. Maybe you are too sensitive. Maybe you do expect too much. But deep down, you know it's not you. It's them refusing to grow. What's heartbreaking about this pattern is how familiar it becomes. At first, you tell yourself it's just a mistake. Then it becomes just how they are. And before you realize it, you've built your peace around someone else's chaos. You find yourself constantly managing their moods, anticipating their behavior, and forgiving their patterns just to keep the relationship stable. You start lowering your expectations, not because you want to, but because you're tired. You start telling yourself that their apologies mean something, even though their actions tell you otherwise. You settle for words when what you need is change. And the more you do that, the smaller you become inside your own life. True forgiveness is a beautiful thing, but it was never meant to be unconditional when the harm is repeated. Forgiveness without accountability is just permission dressed up as virtue. You can forgive someone and still recognize that they don't deserve the same access to you. You can wish them well and still walk away. You can have a kind heart and still have firm boundaries. Because forgiveness doesn't mean you forget the lesson. It means you release the hold their actions had over your peace. But that doesn't mean you invite them back to break you again. People who keep asking for forgiveness without changing are not sorry, they're comfortable. And comfort is the enemy of growth. The most dangerous part of constantly forgiving someone who never changes is that you start normalizing disappointment. You start thinking that being hurt and healing are just part of loving them. You start expecting the apology more than you expect the behavior to improve. You start believing that your standards are too high because they never meet them. That's how emotional erosion works. Not all at once, but little by little, until you forget what real respect even looks like. It's a slow drain of self-worth disguised as understanding. It makes you believe that being patient is noble when really it's self-neglect in disguise. But when someone truly values your forgiveness, you can tell by the silence that follows. Not the silent treatment, the silence of consistent change. They stop doing the things that hurt you. They start keeping promises they used to break. They show up when they say they will. They communicate, they listen, they adjust. They don't need to keep saying sorry because they're living differently now. That's what accountability looks like. It's quiet, consistent, and humble. There's no show, no drama, no manipulation, just effort, just growth. That's what separates the genuinely remorseful from the emotionally lazy. Sometimes the hardest part isn't forgiving others, it's forgiving yourself for allowing the cycle to continue. Because deep down, you knew. You saw the pattern. You felt the inconsistency. But you hoped. You believed that maybe this time would be different. And that hope, that empathy, is what they counted on. People who use apologies as a way to escape consequences don't need more chances. They need distance. They need to learn that not everyone they hurt will keep coming back. They need to feel the absence their actions created. That's how lessons are learned, not through repeated forgiveness, but through lost access. When someone keeps asking for forgiveness without change, it's not your responsibility to fix them. It's your responsibility to protect yourself. You can still have compassion from a distance. You can still care about them while choosing not to be hurt again. The love doesn't have to disappear, but the access does. Because your peace, your boundaries, and your healing matter more than their comfort. When you stop forgiving without evidence of change, you start teaching people what accountability actually looks like. You stop being a safe place for inconsistency and start becoming a mirror that forces others to see their own behavior clearly. The truth is, forgiveness is not a get out of change free card. It's not something people should expect on demand. It's something that must be earned through consistent action, not repeated words. And if someone truly respects you, they won't put you in the position of having to forgive them over and over again. They'll do the hard work of becoming the kind of person who doesn't keep breaking your trust in the first place. Because at the end of the day, people who truly love you don't ask for your forgiveness. They prove they deserve it. People who ask for your loyalty but never earn it are the ones who want the benefits of your trust without doing the work that trust requires. They crave your devotion, your defense, your consistency, but when it's their turn to stand for you, they disappear. They want you in their corner while they keep their options open. They expect you to show up even when they don't. That kind of loyalty isn't partnership. It's servitude disguised as love or friendship. It's a one-way street paved with guilt, manipulation, and false promises. And the truth is, loyalty without reciprocity becomes a trap. You end up giving everything to someone who has no intention of giving anything back. People like this use loyalty as a tool to control you. They'll say things like, "I thought you were my friend," or "I can't believe you doubt me," not because they value your faith, but because they fear losing their grip on you. They want your loyalty to silence your logic. They want your allegiance to override your boundaries. And so every time they cross a line, you hesitate to call them out. Every time they hurt you, you justify it in the name of being understanding. They twist the meaning of loyalty into blind obedience, and slowly you start mistaking silence for support. That's how emotional debt begins, when loyalty becomes an obligation instead of a choice. Real loyalty, though, isn't blind, it's balanced. It comes from mutual respect, shared values, and consistent integrity. It's built slowly through small acts of reliability, honesty, and care. When someone truly deserves your loyalty, you don't have to question it. You just know. Because they've shown you, not told you. They've proven they can keep your secrets, respect your boundaries, and stand with you even when it's inconvenient. But people who demand loyalty without earning it want the illusion of connection without the responsibility of it. They want your commitment, but not your confrontation. They want your trust, but not your truth. They'll take your defense, but never offer theirs. You'll recognize these people because loyalty for them is conditional. It only matters when it benefits them. When they need something, they'll remind you how close you are, how important you are to them. But when you need the same energy back, suddenly they're too busy, too distracted, too unavailable. They use emotional proximity as leverage. They'll make you feel special just enough to keep you attached, but not enough to feel secure. And because you value loyalty deeply, you'll keep trying, giving, proving, hoping that your consistency will inspire theirs. But here's the hard truth. People who need to demand loyalty have already shown they can't be trusted with it. Loyalty isn't proven by staying with people who mistreat you. It's proven by staying true to your values, even when that means walking away. Too many people confuse endurance with devotion. They think that being loyal means tolerating disrespect, staying silent in the face of betrayal, or forgiving what keeps breaking them. But real loyalty isn't about who you stay loyal to. It's about what you stay loyal to. Your peace, your principles, your growth. Because if someone keeps asking for loyalty while offering you inconsistency, they're not asking for partnership, they're asking for power. They want you to prioritize their comfort over your clarity. It's subtle at first. They'll ask for small favors, small compromises, and slowly push the boundaries. They'll expect you to defend them even when they're wrong. They'll get angry when you call them out, saying, "You're supposed to have my back." But having someone's back doesn't mean you enable their bad behavior. It means you hold them accountable because you care. Loyalty without truth is just submission. And the moment you start compromising your integrity to protect someone else's image, you lose both your power and your peace. That's the silent cost of misplaced loyalty. It steals your authenticity one small compromise at a time. People who truly earn loyalty never have to ask for it. They earn it through consistency. They're honest even when it's hard. They show up even when no one's watching. They defend you when you're not in the room, and they tell you the truth even when it stings. They don't manipulate your emotions to keep you close. They nurture trust so that you want to stay close. That's what separates those who deserve your loyalty from those who demand it. One builds connection, the other builds control. When you start setting boundaries around your loyalty, you'll notice how quickly some people change. The ones who were there for what you provided will fade. The ones who were genuine will step closer. That's because loyalty is a mirror. It reflects character. When you stop giving it away easily, you start attracting people who value it. You begin to see who was there for the relationship and who was there for the benefits of it. You stop being emotionally drained by people who see your loyalty as their right instead of your gift. The truth is, loyalty should never be begged for or borrowed. It should be earned. And earning it means being trustworthy, keeping promises, showing consistency, being honest even when it's inconvenient. Anyone can say, "You can trust me," but only actions prove it. When someone truly values your loyalty, they'll protect it, not exploit it. They won't make you feel guilty for questioning them. They'll understand why you need reassurance. They won't disappear when things get hard. They'll stand beside you, because that's what loyalty looks like in action. What makes this lesson difficult is how personal it feels when loyalty is betrayed. You gave your heart, your time, your belief in them, and they took it for granted. It's painful to admit that the people you'd go to war for would never lift a finger for you. But that pain is also a teacher. It shows you that loyalty without reciprocity isn't noble. It's self-abandonment. It teaches you that being loyal doesn't mean staying. It means standing up for what's right, even if that means standing alone. Because loyalty isn't proven in how much you give to others. It's proven in how well you protect yourself from those who misuse it. When you finally pull back from people who keep asking for loyalty they never earn, you'll feel something powerful. Freedom. Freedom from guilt, freedom from manipulation, freedom from constantly proving your worth to people who never deserved it. You'll realize that loyalty is not about being someone's safety net. It's about being someone's equal. And when both sides understand that, loyalty stops being a burden and starts being a bond. It becomes something built on mutual respect, not expectation. And that kind of loyalty doesn't have to be asked for. It simply exists quietly, faithfully, and without fear.